Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Boleyn Lounge and another Tuesday talk show. And I'm Jeff, and tonight I'm joined by Mick and Tony from Early Doors TV. Thanks for joining me, guys.
You're most welcome.
Hello, Jeff. Hello, Tony.
And hello to everyone in the chat. Thanks for joining us. Get your comments in. I'll come to them shortly. But first of all, we'll get to last night's game, and pretty unexpected display, I thought, from our boys. And well, I'll let you guys take it away. What did you think of the game? I'll let you go top to bottom. What do you think, Mick? What was your impressions?
Me? All right. I think we were going to go Tony. Yeah, no, listen. we just talked before you come on there. You said to me last night, what did I think? And I just said to you, it's a funny old game. And that's true. It is a funny old game. You never know in football. I thought Paqueta got man of the match, and I think deservedly so. But I think he played much better because, and I'm going to say this, and I've never said that I was a fan of his, but I thought Soler played really well last night. Yeah, he actually looked comfortable on the ball. He was with the pace of the game. And I think them two made a huge difference in terms of us controlling the game. When we were, under pressure, they seemed to get the ball, keep it, and get us moving, which just hasn't happened this season. So as much as everyone works really hard, I think football at the highest level, at any level, but particularly at that level, we keep giving the ball away. Yeah, and also Fab, I can't believe the man can pass with his left and right foot like that. Yeah, I mean, we spoke on the show several weeks ago that I had no time for Ariola's passing, shall we say, which was, he was just banging balls back to, might have been the Tottenham game, actually. I said he played 11 passes out of the box and didn't hit one West Ham player with it. And that made a difference last night. If you are going to have a keeper that's going to spray the ball around, he needs to hit it to people that can then get that ball. And I think he done it fabulously last night, as well as commanding his box, which is another thing that hasn't happened all season, the goalkeeper commanding his box. So overall, all good. Just an air of caution for me for Saturday is that I thought we were way too. Wan-Bissaka got a lot of plaudits last night, but I thought defensively he wasn't great. And that was because of where he was playing. He was playing too narrow for me, but he was told to do that. And I think on Saturday, if you leave them open spaces on the edge of the box, then Arsenal will exploit them and could embarrass us because their wingers will run into the box. Their wingers will play 1-2 in the boxes, whereas Newcastle's last night, for some reason best known to them, thought it was better just to launch it into the box, which they had lots of opportunity to do. Again, Fab commanded the box. Kilman was good. Tobido, my jury's still out on him a little bit. I wouldn't get too excited about last night. I'll be more pleased that it happened, but I wouldn't get overly excited just yet. We'll see what happens in the coming weeks. But yes, it's something good to talk about on the show for a change. Yeah, so well done to everyone that played last night and to the manager. He made them decisions, and he has been slated on this show for the last 3 weeks. And he got a tune out of the team, so you have to hold your hands up and say, well done.
Yeah, Tony, you did a watch-along, didn't you? You must have really enjoyed that. You must have been dreading it to start with, and must have ended up a thoroughly enjoyable night for you. What did you make of the game?
I was bored stiff, Jeff. I thought it was a crap game. No, jokingly. Look, when you do a game like this, you know full well, because of the previous games, like Mick said, the last 3 games we've give Lopetegui pelters. You think yourself, and I think the majority of West Ham fans are in the same boat, we're all going to get smashed here at Newcastle because obviously they're doing pretty well. But how we set ourselves up, the style of play that we introduced ourselves, the energy, I think that was the key thing for me, was seeing that the energy, which we haven't seen the whole of this season. Where it all come from, I don't know. Maybe that's why Lopetegui got drained. He kind of shared all what he's got left in himself to the players, and it showed on the pitch. Going with the players, yeah, definitely. Todibo had a bit of a stinker every now and then. I think Fabianski pulling off that reactionary save after Thibaut had that kind of spinning ball and pelted off of him. Other than that, that was the only thing you could say was bad about him. But in general, it was a great team performance, and it's something we haven't seen for a long time.
No, I agree. I think it was a really great team performance actually, and there was the energy that you mentioned that we haven't seen before, and it looked like there was a bit of extra commitment out there from them all as well. There was a bit of togetherness, all of the things we haven't seen so far this season. We've got sighters of. I agree. I think that Debo had some shaky moments, but Kilman was excellent last night, I thought. And one thing that we've been criticising is that we keep the ball, play it along the back to the goalkeeper or one of the centre halves, and they hoof it up the pitch. We actually played through the midfield. Soler and Paqueta actually gave whoever was coming out of the back some options and someone they could trust to receive the ball and move it on quickly. We could be pressure sometimes, but we get hold of the ball generally really quite well. And Soler, he was impressive without being overly great, I thought. He did lots of simple things, he just played short, sharp passes. He was open to receiving the ball, dealt with it well under pressure. He just ran off of people's shoulders, just created a little bit of space, took the ball, moved it on. Nothing that magnificent, but
Different player.
that little bit of something we've been missing in midfield. We haven't had any of that. Seemed to bring Paqueta to life. And you couldn't doubt his commitment last night, and neither of them got booked, by the way.
Well, apparently Paqueta had several bets on that he wouldn't get booked, so he should be all right.
And Bowen looked reinvigorated last night. Somerville had a good game, and Antonio was just absolutely immense with the work rate he got through and what he had to do to get a free kick. I don't know. We might have been a little bit fortunate. I thought early on when we had the high line, quite as high, it was a bit of the backside was going a little bit there, and I was a bit worried about, disallowed goal came, and I thought, we're in for a long night here. But we seemed to drop a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
I think we looked a lot better just that 10 yards deeper. Seemed to keep our shape a lot better. And overall, it was just a brilliant team performance with some. We're saying a football match breaks out occasionally every 5 minutes for us, and they've been getting rarer and rarer. Bloody hell, we were playing proper bits of football for good long periods last night. I don't know where it all came from. Absolutely astounded. But if we keep playing like that, and that's the way forward, he can stay as long as he likes. If that's what he's going to produce, and that's what he's going to get out of them, great. But that's just one performance. Like a cup game, anyone can win in a cup final. If that's our cup final, we went up there, we've won, we've done well, brilliant. Next tough game to come. But if he can get them playing like that against Arsenal, even regardless if we get beat, I think if we perform in that way, we'll win more games than we'll lose, right? Yeah. And we'll start enjoying it.
But you don't mind if you lose, if you put a performance in, do you?
Well, yeah, I take that. If you want to gain confidence, then you shouldn't be looking for any less than a point against Arsenal. Really. If you're gaining confidence, you know what I mean, because I think that's important as well. Sorry to interrupt you, Tom.
No, it's fine, mate. I mean, I was just alluding on to what you was going to say there. I think the key thing is, for me, it's the algorithm that he plays with. That win-loss. It's being consistent week in, week out. You don't mind if we're poor in the next game, but you put a performance in and lose the game as long as you put a performance in. But this was, in certain respects, different levels to these previous games we've had so far.
Is it the turnaround this year?
Yeah, without a doubt, Jeff. I mean, I think, I say doing the show last night, and it's like, who's these imposters that's on the pitch? Because it's not the West Ham I know the last couple of games. These guys are actually playing decent football. They're defensively, they're pretty solid going forward. They were looking great. and we even tracked back. You know, we was doing all the right things in the right areas, and I think it surprised even the pundits. I think were surprised by our performance.
Yeah, well, they had no faith at all on Sky Sports before the game. That's for sure. Yeah, it was a matter of how many Newcastle were going to win by, which was.
You know they always love us, Mick. You know Sky Sports love West Ham. You know that, don't you? You know,
well, funny enough, to be fair to him, to be fair to Carragher last night, he did say like he's a big West Ham fan. He loves the club. He thinks that it's a great, passionate support, but he can't see a way out of this, which none of us could. So certainly out of no way of winning last night. So, but yeah, it was a bit of a shock to them all. And to us.
Yeah, I mean, I think the expectations of the fan base was pretty low, and lots of people were predicting a heavy defeat up there, and wouldn't have been surprised if we'd have got it. I think we were all pleasantly surprised, not just by the result, the way we played. And I've listened to some bits today that are suggesting that Newcastle weren't very good and they were off it, and I'm not sure I agree with that quite so much. I think we went out there, played well, right? And we beat them fair and square, and we got them running out of ideas in the end. Overall, we rode our luck in moments in the game, and we might have been lucky not to have conceded a penalty on Callum Wilson from Mavropanos.
Yeah.
But overall, we won that game, and we actually won it pretty comfortably in the end. And we managed the game pretty well overall, especially second half.
Second half was top good.
Yeah. Jeff, if you look in the backstage, James is in the back room. He's in the green room.
Oh, is he? I didn't see James there. Let me just.
But while you're doing that, the penalty, if that penalty was not given to us, I would have thrown a brick through the TV screen, to be fair. It's a definite penalty.
Evening, James. Thanks for joining us. I'm sorry I didn't see you in the back room, mate. You haven't been there too long, mate.
No, I'm right, mate. All good. Just suffering.
Mate.
Suffering an hangover from last night. I had a drink on stream, and I think the Jack Daniels got hit hard last night. So yeah, suffering today, but over the moon with the result last night, I've got to say.
I'm just going to come to the chat, deal with some of these comments, because I haven't brought anyone in from the chat yet. Matt says, evening panel, after last night's result, we could be the dark horses this season, only 8 points off third. Could be less if we get a good result versus Arsenal and other results go our way. And listen, we were saying last week, our expectations of the next two games were low. But if we picked anything up and then went into the Leicester and Wolves games and picked up points there, it turns our season around. But I do think we don't want to get too overexcited about last night. We should enjoy it while we can and hope it continues. But we need to see a bit more of that. Arsenal's a tough ask. If we get anything out of that, I think we'll have done really well. But the other side of that, Matt is right. It could be a platform for us now to turn our season around a bit more and change the direction of it. Whether that incorporates getting to the heady heights of the top four or not, I would question. But definitely an opportunity to move forwards.
Yeah. I love his optimism, but yeah. I agree with what you just said though. Like last night's result was a good result. I think the whole fan base needed it. Yeah, even like the hardened manager out. Listen, I don't think Lopetegui's the guy, but we just got to crack on with it. But it's now how we move forward now. Like we haven't conceded a goal in 2 games now. We're unbeaten in 2, so that's a start. And we're up against Arsenal. It's a good game. Now, Arsenal game becomes like a free hit to a point for West Ham. Like, let's be honest. Like, whereas if you looked at it yesterday, we needed to get something out of a point out of these 2 games would have been great to get 3.
Yeah.
And then get into the Arsenal game with no fear. I think we'll be all right. But I was hearing what you were saying because I was backstage about obviously last night's performance. I thought I thought they come out the traps, Newcastle, but I expected them to come out the traps. Like I think we all did, yeah. And at home, big crowd, everything. But our in-game management last night was superb. Like we attacked when we had to, we defended when we needed to, and overall, we deserved to win the game. It wasn't no smash and grab like people have made out. Do you know what I mean? I thought it was like it was articulated very well. Like first goal gives us something to hang on to. The second goal is a great bit of work. And then, once we went 2-0 up, did I really fear a massive onslaught from Newcastle? Not really. I thought like Fabianski was pretty quiet all night, done maybe 2 good saves in the whole match. And that's it, really. Do you know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
How much of that Jake Daniels did you have?
Quite a lot.
I was
Quite a lot. I must admit, I was celebrating last night because I thought, you know what? Even our own fans wanted us to lose to a point to get this manager out, and I've just about had enough of it. So I was celebrating, drinking their tears, and enjoying it to a point. But it's just one of them, mate. At the end of the day, like I think we all needed it, Tone. Do you know what I mean? We all needed something to see,
definitely.
Like, and get our grip. Like, do you know what I mean? And I'm just glad we did. I'm honest.
Talking of that, just like we, Monday night, which is all day travelling basically to Newcastle.
Yeah.
There was no trains back to London after the game either. So for them fans that go up there, you have got to give them absolute credit. I'm so pleased those that travelled.
Steve,
because we've watched some dross this year. To follow the team up like that is unbelievable. So, yeah, well done.
And they deserve it, Nick. I'm going to be straight. Because what it is, I'll tell you what really irritates me is when people do look at West Ham and go, "Oh, I want us to lose for their own argument." Yeah, when West Ham you should want West Ham to win by any means necessary. Do you know what I mean? That is where it grinds into me, and I'm like, I don't know about this one, right? And I have to I can't hold back. I have to sort of unleash because I feel like you're not being real. Then you're doing it for your own game, if that makes sense. Rather than like saying to yourself, you know what? I don't want the manager here. I don't want the manager here. Right? I'll be straight. I don't want him here. I don't think he's good enough for where I want West Ham to go. But I will never jeopardise West Ham losing the game for the sake of that, because as we all know, any manager that comes in will be picked by David Sullivan. And does anyone of us trust David Sullivan? Absolutely not. So yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the flip side of that is you wish West Ham to lose because that'll be the game that gets rid of the manager, but it's not. Yeah. And then the next one will be, and the next one will be, and before you know it, you've wished West Ham to lose 3 and 4 games. And the manager still might be there, right? Yeah. I don't know. I just don't get that philosophy. I don't get that attitude. We spoke about it before this game, Nick, and said, I don't get all them people are going, oh, if we get thumped up there, he'll get rid of him. I don't mind if we get beat. I want us to win, right? And look how we won last night. That's the West Ham, what gives us the feel-good factor. Who wanted to not have that last night? I thoroughly enjoyed the way we played, right? I've got no idea where it came from, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I'll have some more of that, please.
Yeah, well, that's the old saying, isn't it? The West Ham way, and everyone goes, what is that? Well, that was it last night.
Yeah.
Completely agree. Completely agree.
We played some great football, and that's, for me, I've always said, we'll probably never win the league, but when you go to Newcastle are a big club, let's not make bones about that. Newcastle's a massive club. To go away there and win in that style, that's all you want to see, And if by winning regularly brings something else like a bit of Europe or an FA Cup or something, then albeit. But we're all realistically to know that it's very hard for what's in the league, 20 clubs. There's probably only realistically 2 or 3 that can win the league. Yeah, the rest are chasing other things like other positions in Europe or the FA Cup or whatever. Yeah. So to play that way and enjoy it and think, I got up this morning with a massive smile. And the first thing that came into my head when I woke up. Yeah. And it just, it's great, and that's all we want, isn't it?
It's just to be proud of the team.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
What it is. Do you know what I mean? Like because you got what people got to understand. West Ham represents us as fans. So you want West Ham to do well because it reflects back on the fan base, how the fan base feels. Do you know what I'm saying? And for me, when I look at West Ham, right, I look at a team that is a side that could go to the not to the very top, like Man City or nothing like that, because I'm not that deluded, but we can definitely like compete for Europe. Like, I'm not saying like get into Europe every year, but I'm saying at least compete there. And I think that's fair. I think that's a fair.
Yeah.
I think that's. I don't think when people ask for that, I don't think they're being unrealistic. When with the amount of money that we spend, with the talented players that we got, like, do you know what I mean? The whole package of West Ham, and I think people get a bit. I don't want to be rude to the older generation. I don't. Yeah, but I think the Upton
Be
Park
careful.
era.
There's one sitting here.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Thanks,
I'm
Mick.
ready.
Appreciate
I'm
that, Nick.
I'm ready, Mick. Right,
But
but
talking about me.
yeah, but the Upton Park era and the London Stadium era, two different eras.
Yeah,
And I think this era right now is that you've moved there for a purpose. Right, and I would say it's quite a lot. You move there for a purpose, and that purpose is to be a European contender every year. And I don't think that's being unrealistic, if I'm being honest.
don't.
Do you know what I mean?
We proved that
I've
the
said
last
on
three
the show-
seasons when you think about it. We've proved that with and you've got to give credit to Moyes in that respect. I mean, obviously we know last season where it went with that, but I agree with what you're saying, James. We've got that potential to get ourselves into a Europe spot yet again, as long as we can put in performances like that. I mean, look at us last night, actually playing it out from the back, passing the ball around Newcastle as if they weren't there. I mean, it was just different. Completely different this season, and I think that's the bit I still can't get around my head.
It's hard to compute.
Yeah,
but also, like, and I said earlier, we've all slagged him off, but you have to say, and I think I said this about a month ago on the show, like, what is the point when players, and like when they can't play at the back because like they're not doing it right. There's a certain way to play at the back, isn't there? I mean, players have to be in certain positions and stuff, right? Okay. And I'm looking at going, well, you've had 1, 2, 3, back to Areola, boom, lost. Now, last night, Soler was dropping in, Soucek was dropping in, Paquette was, everyone's making themselves available for that because the ball can't keep going wide. It's got to come in the middle and then go wide. And there's no one dropping in that middle until last night and saying, I'll have that.
Yep.
No one was doing that. And it was all like one touch, boom, gone. And then Fabianski's passing last night was exquisite for him. I've never seen him pass.
Yeah, I've got to be honest. It felt like we've been space jammed. That like for the last 11 games. Honestly, mate. Honestly, I was sitting there. I was going, where has this been for the last 12 games? Like,
what I was trying to say is we've all been slagging him off, but has that been coached into them? And remembering that he has had them like the extra few days because it's a Monday night game. Has he had that chance to say, "Come on, we've been doing this. We need to," because he didn't come back. He had the weekend free, so he's had an extra 2 or 3 days. I think
it's the overall, though, Mick. If you want me to be honest, I think everyone's got to take accountability on this. Listen, we all can't keep looking at Lopetegui all the time and then giving the players a pass when the players need to perform. Like last night, it was a complete. Like perfect performance, perfect away performance, right? Yeah. Going up to St James's, the whole team, even the substitutions, come on, done their bit and sort of managed the game to a point. And for me, like it was something that me personally, I hadn't seen all season. I hadn't seen West Ham in control of a game and basically not be stupid like at 2-0 up and try and. Like they managed the game at the right times. They attacked when they believed that they could attack without being countered, and they defended in numbers. And like it's about winning at the end of this game. It's not about looking
and
good.
And they controlled it well at times as well, and they took the sting out of it at times when they needed to. So they just managed that game really, really, really well. I just want to come to Matt's point. He says Soucek was immense, apparently, as good as. Soler and Pac-Man. He was in a different way. He absolutely was. I agree with that. He was. The whole team were excellent last night, though. We say like Todibo, he had a couple of shaky moments, right? But in a performance like that against a team like Newcastle at St James's Park, you're not going to go with 1-2-0. You're not crucifying anyone on their performance last night. we'll point out he had a couple of shaky moments, but overall, that performance by that team was excellent. Excellent team performance. Aces says two goals were absolutely complete sucker punches, and he's right there because the timing of the first goal was really important for us because they came at us really, really quick. We could have been under the cosh. They had the goal disallowed. We get up, get a corner, little bit of movement from Souček, nothing too clever, but just enough to lose his marker who's half asleep.
Yeah.
And you give Souček a chance like that, he's putting it away and he buried it beautifully, right? And that really helped us. And then leading up to half time, we really kind of needed half time when it came, right? We needed it for a good few minutes before. We were not lucky to get there, but you're looking and thinking, just get to half time, lads.
That's hard for it.
The pressure was building. We got to half time, and then we came out second half, hit them with another early goal. Soon as it was 2-0 then, really, really gave us the opportunity to do what we did, boss the game in the end, because they had to come at us. We looked really dangerous on the break. Could have easily won that game 3-0. No one could have argued last night, I don't think. I'll take 2-0 and be happy.
Souček had that chance 2 minutes after we scored. If he'd have put that across the keeper and sent it straight at him, that would have been 3-0 game over.
Yeah, but you know what it is, right? I heard it on. I don't know why I listened to it.
Evening, James.
Don't know why I listened to it, but Talksport earlier on was basically saying like, "Oh, Newcastle could have been 4-1 up." Yeah, but we hear that quite a lot. Even in our own fan base, where people say, "Oh, they should have been 2-0 up." They weren't. Like, you know what I'm saying? And they missed their chances, and we took ours. And that's what it's about, isn't it? The game, taking your chances.
Yeah, but what chances? I mean, the one from what's the centre forward name again?
Isak.
Yeah. Yeah, he had to stretch for that one because he was put under pressure. Yeah, and a great save from Fabianski. I can't really recall any gilt-edged chances that they missed.
He had a poor game compared. That's not a normal Isaac game. It was quite a poor.
Missed a couple in the first half, didn't he?
He was stretching for that because of good defending at the time. It was forced.
Yeah, but that's the one. But generally, his old game, it wasn't his usual Isaac performance. But the same point, though, Mick and James, we defended really defensively. We was quite defensive-minded as well as going forward.
Thanks, Tyler.
You can say either Newcastle was a little bit poor, thanks, Sofa, but at the same point, we did block quite a lot of shots. Mm-hmm. And, as I said earlier, it's actually seen the players commit themselves to challenges, which we haven't seen in these last previous games. There was more of a strength about us, which we haven't seen. I keep saying it's still pinch myself there to know what the hell's happened there. But it was good to see it, and long may it continue. We just got to carry it into the next game, basically, and the one after that.
I think the Arsenal game's massive in a different way because we need to be, like we said earlier, we need to keep. You said, don't be winning, losing. You need at the worst on Saturday for me. It needs to be come away with a point. At worst, and I think it just builds that momentum.
Yeah, definitely.
I think on Saturday, just to say this, I think whatever happens, as long as we don't get obliterated like we did last season, and we actually give a good performance, I think fans would accept that. I really do. They know what Arsenal are. They know how good Arsenal are. I just hope this ain't a one trick sort of pony thing where it's just sort of it's one game and then we go back to being how we was in previous games. But you know what? It's nice to be confident going into a game because I don't know where the confidence was coming from anyone, in regards of Arsenal. And if we do go and beat Arsenal, then I hope that the corner's turned. I'm not fully convinced as yet. One game ain't going to change it for me. No. It's going to take for me. If he goes unbeaten in the next, say, 4 games, then I'll go, you know what, he might have turned the corner. But, we're going to have to wait and see on this one.
Where we are at Christmas will be important. That will tell you where the season's going now.
Yeah. Definitely. And I think...
a game's between now and Christmas, isn't there? A game every 3 days.
There is. What it is, you've got Arsenal, Leicester, Wolves on the Monday night, Bournemouth on the Monday night, Then you got Brighton on the 21st of December, Southampton on Boxing Day, and then you got 2 horrible games: Liverpool at home, Man City away, and then obviously the Man City away is obviously in the new year.
Do you know anything about West Ham at all?
I don't claim anything, mate. That's me. You know what I mean? I've just got Mick. I've just got a fucking great memory. You know what I mean? That's what it is.
Fair play to you, mate.
Colin.
Hey, Carl.
Yeah, so.
Yeah. You know what's interesting in there, because I'm a massive fan of both them teams. Is Bournemouth and Brighton. I love the way they play. You know, be interesting to see that if we can play like we did last night against them, to see where, because I like, you know, I've said before many times, I watch a lot of the weekend games, and when they're on, I make a point and make sure I watch them, because I just enjoy watching them. And if we can go to Brighton or wherever we're playing, at home or away, we can play them teams. We were lucky to beat Bournemouth early on in the season, I thought.
Yeah.
Be nice to go out there and, you know, Brighton's a bit of a nemesis club for us anyway, isn't it? We've only beaten them once in the Premier League, haven't we? So, yeah, it'd be nice to see us, you know, that's not necessarily the ambition to be better than Bournemouth or Brighton, but I think when them teams consistently perform in a nice, in a footballing way, you know, when they play good football, yes, they don't win every game, but they're easy on the eye in terms of they're good games to watch. You know what I mean? That game on the weekend was an excellent game.
And you know what it is, Mick? Yeah, them sort of games, Bournemouth, Brighton, Wolves, even to a point. They're all games where I expect West Ham to be higher and be better in certain games. Brighton's going to be an interesting one because, like you say, I remember the fixture this year, New Year's Day, I think it was, or the second, when we drew 0-0 with them in like a monsoon of weather. And I'm gonna be honest. If we play Brighton and we turn up like that again, it's gonna be a nightmare afternoon. But you know, I think when it's been sort of negative this season, it hasn't. I hate to say it's been negative in the fan base, but as with Lopetegui, he has frustrated a lot of people, and I can understand why. When you chopping and changing and you're trying to work it out, and nothing's working, then last night it worked. I just hope he doesn't. It's going to be interesting on 2 things as what's going to happen in the next 2 games. First off, Alvarez. Alvarez is going to be back next week for Arsenal. What does he do with Alvarez? Does he start him? Does he bench him? Does he go with the same 3 again? Like, who knows on that? And then obviously on the Tuesday night is a big decision because Mo will be back. And then do you drop Crescencio Somerville to bring Mo in and put Mo on the left? And he's got 2 big decisions. 2 big decisions for me.
Well, Budgie mentioned that last week. He said he hoped that we played that well that Kudos doesn't get a game. Yeah, and I sort of made a joke, but there isn't anyone. But you know, if he does, I mean, I'm another big fan of Somerville anyway all season. I think he's one of the players that has performed whenever he's been on the pitch. So yeah, but it's good if personally, if it was me, I wouldn't change the team. Why would you? You know?
Yeah, I think with the only thing with the Alvarez one, I will say, is that we know Arsenal are going to be better going forward than Newcastle was the other night, and I think if we go, do I want West Ham to go toe to toe with Arsenal? I don't know about that one because I think we're going to get more done than not, if that makes sense. Do you know what I'm saying? I'd rather West Ham be containing and sort of pick their moments to attack, but it's going to be a big decision for him, honestly, because like. I think I'm going to be honest. I don't think he's getting sacked now. Like that's what I think I'm saying.
But you could get Souček to play that different role and sit him in where Alvarez is in, and then not change the team. Yeah. And then when you get your corners and your free kicks or that moments that you burst out, I wouldn't change it just based on the fact that they've all earned the right to play Saturday.
Yeah. No, true.
And it makes it hard for players to come back in. Make it hard for them to come back in.
True. James, I was going to go with Michael's comment because we talked about this earlier. What did you make of Lopetegui's look on the bench?
He looks rough, doesn't he?
Was he out with you last night at the old
mate,
on the Jack Daniels?
I'll tell you what, how he looks is how I fucking feel. 100%. Because he looks rough, I'm gonna be honest. Even Lucas said it on E20 last night, funny enough. He said, no, we've got to keep the beard. We've got to keep it. Like you can't be going cutting no beard.
It was the straw hair and everything that was going on.
It was the works, wasn't it?
I thought he'd done an hour on E20 before he got to the ground.
He probably did. He probably did. That's the suffering that we get. Do you know what? I think I'll be honest though. I think he felt the pressure. I think he's been feeling the pressure in West Ham, and I just believe that they all come together and said, right, we need to pull our fingers out, otherwise he's going to be out of a job, and we're going to be a mess this year, and we could waste the season. This season, if you look at it, I think someone said it the other day to me, I think we have 4 points or 5 points off 6 or something stupid. Like we're not a million miles away, but
no, the league's much tighter this year. Much tighter.
Yeah, it is a lot
4 points off of Spurs in 6th, I think.
That's what I'm saying. So basically, if we can go on a bit of a run, and if that means like taking one loss, but then nicking wins and draws and getting up the league, that's where we want to be. Like at the end of the day, it's not like we need to start winning games again.
Yeah, that's where the Wolves, Brighton, Bournemouth game. What you were saying earlier about you need to be bigger, but what I'm saying is they've set a tone for me for teams like West Ham right now. You've got to be better than them. So you've got to compete with them. Otherwise, you're going to be behind them. So that's what I say. It'd be interesting to see where we are when we play these teams.
Yeah,
I think Colin's comment here probably mirrors where quite a lot of West Ham fans are at right now. And he says, I never did see this coming. I just hope Loppy plays the same way against Arsenal than rather change it around again like he has done before. My judgment is still out on Loppy next 6.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty fair summary on where everyone probably should be as well, really. I mean, great performance last night, loads of credit where it's due. I'll just move to this comment as well while we're on that subject, because Michael says, Talkshow says, told the world we did a smash and grab, and it shows they don't watch matches. And seriously, they couldn't have watched that game last night. Actually, I listened to a thing with Sam Matterface talking to Simon Jordan, the clip. He was saying about the smash and grab, and he said it wasn't very different to Moyes last night. It's exactly the sort of performance you might have seen Moyes' team put out. And I thought, what the fucking hell are you talking about, right? That was not Moyes-like at all. And it was far from a smash and grab. Very, very poor reporting from TalkSport in my opinion. I know we're biased, but that was bullshit. What they
basically, like the passing last night was a lot better than it's ever been. Like Lucas said it on E20 last night. Basically, over the last few games, West Ham's passing stats have been in the 70% sort of and up. Yeah, haven't been great at all. Yeah, last night it was at 82, 83%. So when you're in the 80s bracket, you know that your pass accuracy is getting better. Do you know what I'm saying? But I agree. I listened to that clip earlier on. I had to laugh with the smash and grab. It seems like, and even Theo Walcott, shout out to him. Yeah, he said that West Ham had no chance on commentary last night on Sky, and yes, we thought different. Do you know what I mean? So it's just what West Ham do at the end of the day. West Ham win games that we all don't expect them to win. Do you know what I mean? So
that's true.
West Ham way for me is West Ham will probably go and beat Arsenal. We're all thinking we'll turn the corner, and then Leicester will lose. Like it's just is what it is.
Oh, here we are. Got a bit of abuse coming in now. Tony looks like the guy that made Pinocchio with that moustache. I call you Geppetto.
Geppetto, that's the guy. Yeah. Big up, Stephanie. Good to see you as well.
Evening, Stephanie.
So how do we see the Arsenal game going then?
Well, you've got your concerns about it, but I understand why, because Saka and Martinelli are different prospects.
Not so much Martinelli. His form is poor at the moment. I mean,
then
I mean, the
Trossard
thing
plays those, doesn't he?
not being funny. I would pay the player's wage and fine, and I'll say, take out Saka. I'll pay the fine. Job done, because he is the linchpin for that team. Take him out, then there's nothing for
him and Odegaard.
Ethan Howard. Yeah, exactly. That's all you need to do. I mean, obviously, the fact that they've found a bit of form again, they got the result on Austria on Saturday. I mean, no one expected Forest to collapse like they did against Arsenal, and obviously they're currently winning at the moment in the Championship. So it's one of those. Ethan Dave, old school Gunner. So yeah, it's one of those, and especially when you think like seeing City lose 5 on the spin, everyone's kind of like, well, especially Arsenal fans, it's our turn now. We can get up there.
I forgot about Liverpool, didn't they?
I forgot about the 8 points clear that they are.
Yeah, exactly.
Arsenal seem to be playing a bit of a different way though this year.
I think on Saturday. I think on Saturday we have to score first if we're going to get anything out of the game. Yeah, I said it even the other day. We had to score first against Newcastle to get anything out of the game, and I think the same applies with Arsenal and all. I don't see West Ham going 1-0 down and trying to spin it around against Arsenal. But I can see us, if we go 1-0 up, it's a different game altogether, because then we've got something to hold on to, and 2, we can play a sort of a counter-attacking style where we can allow them, not low block, but mid block, let them come in a little bit, and then hit them fast and hard on the counter. I think the high line's going to be interesting, because Todibo went off last night with like a hamstring strain to a point. I don't know whether he's going to be out or not. I thought Mavropanos and Kilman will be all right in there. Obviously,
Mavropanos actually did well when he came on last night. I'll give him credit. Yeah. He worries me, Mavropanos, but apart from the clumsy bit on Callum Wilson, I thought he did really well last night. But the whole team did. Sorry, James, interrupting you.
I would like Saka. I'd like Wan-Bissaka against Saka, if I'm honest. I know that ain't going to happen, right? Because obviously, like, he plays on the other side. But if we can do like a man marking job on him and get him out of the game, and Odegaard for instance, I think we've got a chance. Get something. Yeah. You take them 2 players out. Kai Havertz ain't going to do a lot. Not against like Hillman and Mav, and we can nullify them. Do you know what I mean? So. I just the only thing I do say is I hope we just don't see a repeat performance of last season where we just was all over the place. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously it ain't going to be good, is it?
Yeah, we knew what the half-time score was at that point, didn't we?
Yeah, Bennett. I'll do that last night.
Was it 6-0 last year, wasn't it?
6-0,
yeah. 4-0 at half-time, and when you look at that, I get reminded every now and then, Mick, from the young Man United guy with me, and that puts in the background like the screen behind me. He does that, and he loves showing that one off.
I'll just say to Howard that stat's part of our smash and grab. Away from home at St James's.
But that was probably, I don't know. I don't watch the halftime nonsense, but the 48% was probably in the mid-30s in the first half. I would have thought. I thought a lot of that possession came from the second half. So I think we had loads of the ball in the second half. Loads.
How much possession would you say you expect West Ham to have in the away performance though? Like, because when people say about possession stats, like 48% possession at St James's Park ain't bad, is it? Like, let's be honest. And like, what's the bracket for you? 40% and up? Would you say?
What, away from home?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Against most teams, teams of that level, yeah.
Yeah.
But then, like we spoke last week, didn't we, about the worst 2 teams in the league being West Ham and Everton, in our opinions. Yeah, and I said that, watching Southampton, again, they threw it away against Liverpool. Watching Wolves, I said last week on the show, if Wolves to score some goals because they've missed so many chances, they go and put 4 away and win it comfortably. So, when you go to even teams like that who keep possession of the ball, then you have to be pragmatic with your 40% away from home, really.
Yeah. Like, yeah. What about you, Tone? What are you saying?
Yeah, I think 40%. I mean, I don't know if you saw the stat. Well, I think it's about 20 minutes in they come up with a stat, and where we was kind of getting on top of the game, I think Newcastle was literally only now off about 7% of the game at that stage. So that just shows you the difference. But yeah, 40% is what your class being reasonable. When you're playing the bigger teams, then that's virtually halved because they're going to literally just going to come run, just attack.
Right.
But 58%, that just shows you the difference in the last couple of games and how we've improved in that respect. The main thing is maintaining it.
Yeah.
And that's a key element. And I think that was a good thing about last night, big up Jess as well, is the consistency that we had throughout the whole of that game.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no kind of, I wouldn't say there was any let up either, which we normally have seen in us. Even like when you think Antonio, he lasted longer than the 60 minutes like he normally does. So that was good to see as well. And I think it was all, the man management was brilliant. So when you look at that, it is all kind of calculated. Everything would work really well. The substitutions, I think someone put it in the chat. They came on. They did their part as well. So it's that.
The running stats last night was it the second best in the league, wasn't it, or something?
Yeah, second best in the league. Yeah.
190, just under 119 kilometres.
Yeah,
only Tottenham have beaten that this season.
What's
noticed, didn't it?
Yeah, but look at the Everton game. They look like they couldn't be bothered to run.
Yeah.
And then last night, they're running for miles. I think last night, and I agree with what Mick said earlier on, about maybe the extra time helped over the weekend to prep for this game. I think they was sort of pressing when they had to, but not overdoing it, not overworking themselves and wearing themselves out. Because you could see at the Everton game, they looked drained. They looked drained of energy after that game. And they just looked like, well, we're running, but it's like we're running in quicksand. But last night, they seemed like energized a little bit. Maybe like they've tweaked something behind the scenes tactically in saying, right, you go when we go, you stop when we stop, and we maintain this. We have little spurts, 10-minute spells where we go all out and then we have a little rest and sort of basically in-game control management, really, if I'm being honest.
Well, that's where
sorry, Jeff, go on.
Yeah, that's where last night was so un-Moyes-like. We got that second goal. Right, we managed the game, but we didn't just sink in and sit back and try and soak it all up to see the game out. We tried to see it out and manage it in a different way. They were much more likely to get a third goal than try and just sit in and see out 2-0.
Yeah.
We were 3-1 up last year and we lost it 4-3.
That's right, yeah, we did. I mean, what I was going to allude to, and that, I mean, I mentioned on my channel, I mentioned on E20 as well, was the Ipswich game and how we didn't do, from that point to the Spurs game, he did nothing. And we know where that game was turned out. So this little break, as you mentioned there, James, you could see the difference straight away. There was that, everyone was energised. So what was the difference back then from the Ipswich point? Why didn't he improve anything in that 2 week we had off to carry on to maintain what we did in that game?
I just think the pressure was building behind the scenes, and Jared Bowen. Well, I'm going to shout him out because I thought he was excellent last night, as he always is. But his interviews before the game, after the game, that kid, he's such a lovable lad, right? And is he captain material? Well, I think we said it last week. We all don't know, like, if he's really the guy to be the long-term captain. But at present, he is the captain. And I thought last night, his interview after was brilliant. Like the way he spoke about the club and like how much he cares. And I just feel that the media, everyone there, even the own fan base, let's be honest, 95% of the fan base, the odd 5% might have thought, you know what, we've got a chance. But 95% of the fan base probably thought, no, we're going to get hammered up there. And to go there and win the way we did breeds confidence now. Now, I think everyone's looking forward to the Arsenal game now. Like, and that's a start. Like, people
like that we are, yeah.
Yes, it's true, Mick,
but Mick, you're still looking forward to that.
Yeah. But can I go back a little bit, because it's interesting you changed subjects there about the percentage of possession. I
Oh,
watched
yeah.
the Man United game against Ipswich on Sunday, and I watched about half hour with a couple of Man United fans. I said, boys, I can't watch it. They watched it like to the end, but I couldn't watch it. And what's that? I said, well, look at the amount of passes that Man United are making backwards. And then I see, I don't know, well, it was on before the game last night. They had 233 back passes in that game. 233. They had massive possession, of course, and it was all in their own half. So again, possession stats, yes, we talk about you have to have a certain amount of possession, you're not going to win the game, but Man United had a huge amount of possession, but 233 back passes.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying. So the possession stats can lie also, but when you do look at it with last night, was going forward. That's one thing I did like last night is when we did get the ball, we was looking to go forward instead of trying to go sideways and back.
There have to be positive possession, is what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? It was and it was positive possession. I thought, Jeff alluded to it a couple of minutes ago. That was so un-Moyes-like. The ball was moved through the body of the team. It was really good.
Yeah. And I just hopefully that can maintain itself over the course of the next few weeks. But I think when you look at the Moyes thing, Moyes was a low block, but that 1-0 would have been sit back and we're going to wait until we hit him on the break. Do you know what I mean? But last night, I don't know, it just felt more controlled. Joe, when they say possession-based game, they say Lotte wants to control games. I think I see it for the first time last night of exactly what he's trying to do. He's trying to be able to beat, get in front, control the game, the tempo. I thought Soler had a really good game last night. I don't know about you boys.
Yeah, it did indeed.
I thought he when he dropped deep, he sort of dictated the play and when to go, speed it up, and when not to. And I just I was pleased with it last night, and I was proud of the boys to a point because I think it must be so frustrating because we haven't won a game for a while, since the Ipswich game, if memory serves me right. We've got hammered at Forest. Everton was poor, and obviously, I think the Spurs game was in there and all where it was a nightmare. We needed something. The whole fan base needed something. So I'm just glad we got it. If I'm honest.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, you mentioned the media and that. I mean, what's it? Is it Andy Durham that's on TalkSport?
Oh, Adrian Durham, yeah.
Adrian Durham. So I knew it was with an A in there. His comments today.
Yeah.
Bowen should go. He shouldn't be at West Ham.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be there. He should be a top club.
Arsenal fan, isn't he?
Of course, and that's what he's hoping for, and that. And I thought myself, of course, mate. At least the other fella said, "Well, I think you might need to speak to Danny Dyer first before anything else." So I'm glad he kind of shut him up in that respect. But
Bowen ain't going, mate.
Of course, I mean,
he's. I think the only time he ever leaves West Ham is if West Ham got relegated. That's the only time. I just don't see it. I look at him. I think the goal makes him a legend from Prague. I think that goal cements him in history, and I think he wants to. I think what we wanted from Declan Rice back in the day, to him to sort of take this club, be the captain, everything. I think Bowen's going to do exactly what we wanted Declan to do, and that's the difference. If I'm honest, I don't think I'll be very shocked if he signed for a Premier League side. I wouldn't be shocked if he moved abroad. I think that could happen if a big club come in for him abroad, maybe he might think about it. But I don't think he'll go to somewhere like Liverpool.
He's got 5 years left on his contract, so it'd be hard to get him anyway.
Yeah, I think he's got himself committed here, isn't he? I mean, I was just thinking about that. Lopetegui, so you just said there, James. I think what he must have done to look so drawn through a head backwards. He's probably watched a shitload of videos of West Ham the early years to realise actually how we actually play, and maybe that's why we've adopted that style today.
The rough look. You know what I mean? It is a new one, isn't it? I remember last year people wanted a good-looking manager. They got some fucking owners in there. That's right. It's just. But I don't care how he looks as long as he does the job.
There's an interesting chat come up there a couple of minutes ago about the referee.
Oh
Yeah.
yes,
When I was watching the game, and we were under pressure in that first half. There was a particular foul on Bowen, and not the one where he ripped his shirt, but another one on Antonio when we were trying to get out. Yeah, and I thought, well, we're away now. We've relieved the pressure. He doesn't give the free kick. And when things are going against you, I was sitting there thinking, that's when things are going against you. You don't get them. And then very strangely, in the second half, when we got on top, we started getting them free kicks that we weren't getting in the first half. It's a mad game, isn't it?
And he didn't give the penalty.
I don't know how he didn't give the penalty, to be
So
honest.
I kind of agree with the referee being poor, not giving free kick. We spoke about it earlier about what did Antonio have to do to get a free kick.
yeah.
And he was shocking. But equally, we got a bit lucky with the penalty. So
Does anyone on here think that wasn't a penalty? Because
I'm not sure. Let us know. If you don't think it's a penalty, let us know in the chat.
I thought Wilson,
Barry said that he would have liked...
That's what it was. You've got to blame Wilson. He leant into the back of him. So, all day long now.
In fact, he had one leg around him and an arm around his neck.
Didn't see that. Didn't see that.
He wouldn't have got to it. It's too high anyway, but
Barry would have liked to have seen Scholes and Guilherme come on to get some minutes, and he thinks that Rodriguez, Ings, and Irving didn't do much as sub. I think I have to disagree with that. I thought it was a really good team effort, and I think the subs came on and did what they needed to do.
I think Ings was unlucky, Jeff, because when you think he had a couple of shots.
He had a couple of
shots.
Huge chance to score.
Pope pushed one away, and I think he saved another one. But
I don't think I criticised Lopetegui too much for his choice of substitutes. And I get the idea of wanting to see Scholes and Guilherme.
Yeah,
I embrace that, and but I can see why he didn't introduce them into the end of that game. And the subs that came on did their job. They did a good job. So
I think so. I mean, I can't criticise because as you know, I've got no ear. But between Lopetegui and if you look at Danny Ings, I don't know what's going on with their earpieces because Danny Ings' hair was going up like that. There was something going on there.
Howard says Isaac was wank, not one shot on target. He did have an off night, and I do think he had another night. He probably scores one of those chances.
Oh, definitely.
Okay, but then again, right? Just because everyone's particularly on Talksport, there's been a lot of that shit. Man City got beaten 4-0 on Sunday, yeah. And they had 29 shots on goal, yeah. So, yeah, but that's what it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. Jeffrey, I am going to go with my friends yet. I've got an early one in the morning, so I need to get a shower and sort myself out.
Nick, take it easy.
See you, boys, yeah?
Oh,
yes.
Nice. Not here next week because we're playing, aren't we?
What's that?
Next week we've got a game.
Tuesday night, Leicester. Oh,
Tuesday night, yeah. So I'll see you in a couple of weeks, mate.
Yeah, okie dokie. Well, he won't see me because I'm in Tenerife, son, so he won't see me until
another unauthorised holiday.
Unauthorised holiday, yeah.
Did you put that in writing? Request annual leave. What's this all about, Mick?
Well, if my daughter takes her phone or something, because I don't have all that on my phone, I just use my phone for phone calls. I might join in off the phone or something. Yeah. All right.
Cool. No worries. Okay. I'll speak to you later.
Take it easy, Mick.
Yeah. Bye, man.
Take care, man.
Bye.
Toe is asking, will West Ham be better as an away team for the rest of the season, counter-attacking and taking the game to the home team? I guess the performance on Saturday may offer a clue. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, the thing is, all teams play differently, don't they? We set ourselves up. It worked against Newcastle. We'll have a different challenge at Leicester, and so on and so forth. I just want to see the team put on a performance Saturday. I'd love us to pick up some points, but I can't see him changing the lineup. And we'll see against another team how that fares. Arsenal are a good side as well. Newcastle are a good side. we'll see how we shape up at home. I think the crowd's going to be really up for it on Saturday now, off the back of that good win last night, and that can make a difference there. So James is right though. If we go a goal down, if it's a struggle for us, we can go in level or a goal up at half time, game on, and let's see.
For me though, Jeff, sorry, James, I was going to say, just for me, looking at with that, it's Lopetegui is the worrying thing for me, because the amount of times he's changed his team week in, week out, it's that tampering with the team. Consistency is what you need, but you can't do that if you keep moving the personnel around. It doesn't give you anything, and it's no use to, like we did with the Ipswich game, and then doing nothing, and then doing what we did on Monday, and then changing it yet again to suit the style of Arsenal. I mean, look what we did with Forest. Backfired tremendously on us.
I think what it is, the only thing I will say to that is that every game's different, isn't it? So you might have to go with, like, how can I put it? Will that side compete against Arsenal on Saturday? It probably would do, but you have also got to respect the opposition also. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, otherwise, that's where we're going to get done. I think he's got two, as I said earlier, I think he's got two big decisions to make in 2 games coming up, like Mo and Alvarez. I think the Alvarez one, you do need someone stealing there. Do you know what I mean? Because who's their 3-man midfield? Rice, Partey's in there.
Odegaard.
And Odegaard, yeah. So really, you need a man.
The other one, Jorginho, didn't they, on Saturday?
You need a man marking job on Odegaard, really, because he's the one who pulls the strings for them. If you keep him quiet, you can really stop Arsenal. And I think the spine of the side on Saturday night is key, because I think Mikel Antonio had a good game last night, and I hope they rest him up, and because he's going to be in for a battle with Saliba and Gabriel. Like, if them two are fit and playing, like, it's going to be a different opposition to what he played on Saturday, on last night. Sorry. So I just think the spine of the team's just got to be right. The centre arms have got to be on it. I personally think we need Alvarez in there as a sort of DM stroke, like third defensive player. Do you know what I'm saying? And go from there to a point. I think with Soler, he had a good game. Paqueta had a good game. Souček had a good game. But they're all attack. Well, Souček's not really attack, he's box to box. But, you know, you've got to have someone who's a bit more stealing there, I think, for me.
They brought the best out of each other in that game last night, for sure.
Yeah.
And Barry's just saying here, Soler was definitely the missing piece of the puzzle. He made the difference pairing with Paqueta, and they linked up brilliantly well. I'm not sure you can rely on Souček as the sole DM every week, if that's the role he's going to play. And he didn't really play. He was everywhere last night, though, Souček. I mean, all over the place. But I agree. I think you probably need a player like Alvarez behind there with a little bit more steel. I mean, but I don't know if Souček's a little bit more mobile even than Alvarez, but Alvarez has got that tough tackling about him. And Alvarez can carry the ball to some degree a bit better than Souček can as well, if it comes to it. I don't know. He's got a difficult decision to make. Damien says, I hope he starts seeing Rodriguez purely as cover moving forward.
Yeah.
I don't think you get too many arguments over that. I mean, Rodriguez, I don't think he's a bad footballer, and I think he could play a role, but he is too slow, and the league is really quick. As cover, I thought that's what he was brought in by. I thought that's what he was recruited for. And he's played every game. I mean, he came on last night for a few minutes, but he's played every game. So, I hope he's covered too going forwards.
The change we did yesterday, and that, I think that also made the improvement as well. As you said, having him in that defensive area can slow us down. So, seeing the difference just in that one change alone, hopefully, that's the sign of good things. I mean, do we see the mystery man that's not played since August? Does he actually kind of get to have a chance? Because apparently he's supposed to be available for that game.
It'd be interesting to see if he is.
I'll take it you're talking about Fulkrug, are you? Yeah. Well, let's just see if he makes the squad or not. He doesn't start anyway, does he? If he's available, he doesn't start.
I think it'd be interesting if he's on the
squad. Yeah, no, I agree, but let's just wait until. I mean, yeah, it's Tuesday evening. He could have gone missing by Thursday again. So,
well, no, luck, Jeff. He'll come on that first shot and that pings his hammy again, and then we don't see him for dust. That'll be him over and done with.
Yeah, I agree on that.
Nick says it was a better performance than other games this season, but Newcastle have been pretty bad up front this season. If it was against a more clinical team, we would have lost potentially. I kind of get where you're coming from. They have been a little bit goal shy and haven't scored lots of goals. And I think they probably should have scored some of the chances they created last night. But they didn't. But it's the same as Man United. I mean, Man United should have been 4 up at half time against us and out of sight. They couldn't finish their dinner. And then, I mean, they got absolutely robbed off the back of that. I don't think Newcastle on the back of last night. They might be kicking themselves for a couple of chances that they didn't take. But overall, I don't think they could be kicking themselves and thinking they were robbed. Whereas Man United could feel like they were really outdone by.
There's a bit of a difference, isn't there? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Did you hear Eddie Howe's comments? He said about
No, the penalty was he talking about?
No. He was more going on about the team itself. He kind of blamed like the international break, but then give him his dues. He did say that we can't just blame that because West Ham were in the same position. I think it was just the fact that he kind of praised us a little bit that we were more on top of it. But he was saying, I think he was alluding to that it wasn't good enough from Newcastle. But it's one of those, isn't it?
The only thing I will say, really, with like personnel, it's going to be interesting to see if like the substitutes are going to be interesting on the weekend because like Ings. Do you know what? I think Danny Ings is quite surprises. Do you know who he reminds me of? He's Yarmolenko's time at West Ham to a point where he was not favourite. Like everyone wanted him out, and then at the end he became like an hero to a point, like scoring big goals and people waved him goodbye. And I think Danny Ings last night, like one thing with that kid, I will say, he runs around and he don't mind like doing a bit of running. So it's just gonna be interesting to see, but hopefully the fan base can start getting back to normal now. It's just self-destructing. It's normal.
Yeah. We love a meltdown, don't we?
Oh, not half.
I think we look at Ings. I think what he needs, like the Bowen thing, like Bowen scoring for England. I think that lifted a weight off of his shoulders there and then. I think Ings needs that as well because he's getting in the right areas, and we saw that yesterday and the last couple of games. He's had chances to do something, but give him that goal. I think he deserves that at least.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I agree. Like, it's. What Jeff said at the start of the stream before I come on, I make him right. I just hope this ain't just a one-off. That West Ham haven't caught Newcastle on a bad night.
Yeah,
and we've turned up and everything's worked on this one game. That's the only thing I will say. But we will find out soon, right? And because what it is, where you got the sort of 2 games back to back, like i.e. the Arsenal game, then on the Tuesday night Leicester. We will see if it's starting to turn. And listen, for me, I don't want Lopetegui here. I don't think Lopetegui is the right guy for West Ham. I really don't. Right? But I'm not going to be sitting there screaming it from the rafters every 5 minutes, saying like you got to get him out, like and all that. You've got to what you have got to do is see what they're trying to do and see if it's. You can't put all the blame on Lopetegui all the time. You can't. Some of it's got to be on the players. Yeah, if players are not running. And the running stats proved it last night that they did run last night. That tells you that it's on the players not running around and not really caring to a point, then you got
Great
you
comment.
got to dig out the players.
Yeah,
I know, and
yeah.
goes a long way.
Well,
Yeah, we said it last
that's
week.
a good comment.
Yeah, we were really upset last week, and part of what we were upset about was the application of the players.
Yeah,
Felt that they were kind of at half speed, strolling around, like they didn't care.
yeah,
Right, whether they're not buying into the tactics, whether they're not sure what the communication is, that's not an excuse for a lack of application once they're on the pitch. That's what it looked like last week. But none of that last night. They were right up for it. Not only were they right up for it, whatever clicked. I mean, they look like there's nothing we've seen like that this year. Where did it come from? Like, I'm still astounded. I still don't know. That's why I think, okay, that's brilliant. If that's what we can do, I want to see more of it. But I need to see more of that before I'm convinced.
I agree with you,
Because
Jeff and
what I've
James.
seen before has just been groundhog, grind it out, grind it out. We said about completely bypassing the midfield, not involving the midfield at all. And then all of a sudden last night, our midfielders are coming to receive the ball off of our back four, playing it through the middle of the park, bossing the game, winning the ball back. We haven't seen anything like that. So
it was a team performance,
I'm just
Jeff, wasn't
baffled.
it? It was a team performance. And
Baffled.
that's the thing. But the question I think that both of you alluded to there is, why wasn't we doing this before?
Yeah.
Why was we holding back? I mean, obviously, yeah, we know, we've surmised that it could be the fact that no one was buying into Lopetegui's kind of tactics and style. I still say it to this day, like, the reason why Kudos got himself sent off was pure frustration with Lopetegui, I'd say, in that one. But agree with what James said. It's the next game and the game after that.
Yeah.
There's losing a game. I think as West Ham fans, we always accept losing because we do lose games. Many, in fact.
The West Ham way.
But there's ways of losing. And I think there's ways of going out of a game. And I think this season, up until the Newcastle game, we've been getting beaten heavy. Too heavy for a new manager who's just come in, and it shouldn't be like that. I don't remember Brighton with a new manager, younger manager, getting hammered this year. I might be wrong. Someone might say in the chat there's been a game where they've been hammered. But I don't remember it. And I look at West Ham, and I've seen too many hammerings. Like Chelsea was an hammering. Manchester United, even though we won the game, we should have been hammered in that game. Yeah, we should have been out. They should have been out of sight. And I understand. Someone put in the comment earlier about if they would have took their chances, they would have won the game. It's like us saying, well, if we would have defended better in these other games, we wouldn't have lost these games. It's the counter argument. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So you've got to be a bit realistic. Like Chelsea, Tottenham, Manchester United. There's another game in there. Forest is one that really.
Yeah, Forest was a bad one.
Yeah, to go to Forest and set up in a way that just didn't make no sense to a point. It's just like the Jekyll and Hyde of West Ham. Now, obviously, if they've been working on this and they've managed to sort of click it, and obviously, we have to be honest. They have to build a relationship up between players. Like you have to be sort of like thinking what the player's going to do before he even does it. Do you know what I mean? When that works, then you've got an understanding. It just felt like last night. It felt like a team rather than individuals last night, which makes a change. If I'm being honest.
Yeah, definitely. It was long overdue to see a team performance like that.
Yeah,
and as from the from top to end, keeper, the forwards, everyone did their part. And that's what you look for at the end of the day. You want that, didn't you? I mean, I'm just looking at that. I mean, considering City's 5-0 loss at the moment, I mean, they're enjoying themselves. They're 3-0 up against finals at the moment, and it could have been 5 easily at the moment in this game, and it's only played 58 minutes. So to say that City's finished, yeah.
Couple of interesting comments in the chat here. Lobby's banned for Arsenal. I didn't know that.
Got a matchline ban with that card he got.
And Nick One says we haven't lost to a team versus a team outside of the top 8. All our losses have been from a team currently in the top 8. But he still don't like Loppy though. And Michael says our record on a Monday night is played 9, won 8, drawn none, lost 1. I didn't know that.
Wow, that's good stats.
That's a good stat, isn't it?
Nice one, Michael. I know where the money's going for Wolves and Bournemouth. 100%. I will slip Michael a nice drink. Thank you very much. You know what I mean? Well, what a guy, Michael. What a guy.
He did look stressed there. Loppy did look stressed.
Yeah, he did look really stressed. He looked rough as, didn't he?
I just think it's been building up with him though. If I'm being honest, yeah. Like, because you imagine, like, it's like any form of business or work, employment, anything. Like, if you get stressed at your job, it's going to affect you somewhere along the line, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? I think it has been affecting him. Because I think, do you know what? I think Lopetegui wants to do well for West Ham. I think he does. I think what it is, he's trying so hard. And you can see with the frustration in him, like when he's going mad on the touchline. This ain't, I'm going to be honest, this ain't a new thing with Lopetegui. Like, I was seeing this in the pre-season. Like, do you know what I mean? I went over to Dagenham and Redbridge, locally to me, and I watched West Ham play Dagenham and Redbridge, and he was going mad on the touchline then. So, if he can just chill out and not get booked on the touchline, that'd be a start. Do you know what I mean? And go from there. But, you know, it's
Howard's a bit much, that one.
Yeah.
Ian says he actually avoided the game last night. He couldn't face it. Was convinced we would be smashed, alongside most of us, I think. That'll teach him, he says. And Damien says he needs to start managing that midfield as per opposition, in my opinion.
Yeah.
See, I can't read. That's why.
I see Suchik, Alvarez, Paqueta, Sola, and Kudos as the genuine options, and Rodriguez and Irving as cover. I'll help you out, Jeff. That's what we're there for.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's about right, though. He has got to manage the midfield in the right way, rotate it for the opposition. He looks like he's fallen onto a bit of a winning formula with those three from last night, because that's as good as we've looked in midfield all year. But it was the coming short and receiving the ball off of the back four, playing it out wide, receiving it, playing through them, controlling the game the way we did was so impressive for me, because we've seen nothing, no sign of that. That's what's confused me so much, because if we'd have seen, like, we can see he's trying to do that, it just ain't coming off, and he needs to get the personnel right, or there's been none of that. We haven't been trying to do any of it, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, people coming short, giving options on the ball.
I think the good thing about it, Jeff, was as much as a team effort, it was the fact that we kind of, as much as we had, like, you said about Suchek running all over the shop, we had Wan-Bissaka doing exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
But we did keep a shape, even us. We did keep our shape. We was quite solid in that. We moved up as a unit. We come back as a unit. And again, it's something we're not used to at the moment with this manager and this team.
No, Wan-Bissaka didn't really go wandering till quite late in the game, did he?
True. But it was good to see that. But it was the fact that we also covered each other as well. There was that unity. Yeah, but what can you say?
But what it is like, he needs one thing I will say with Lotte, he needs a big win against a big side.
Yeah.
Like, no disrespect to Manchester United. Manchester United at the time were in the mud. And that, I don't even class that. I class that as a win, but I don't even class that as anything. I class that somehow we had an invisible wall in front of our goal. Just that nothing was ever going in. Do you know what I'm saying? But I do feel if Lopetegui's going to start to turn this, he has to get a good result against a big side. Whether that's Liverpool at the end of Christmas, going into towards the new year, whether it's Arsenal on the weekend, I think he has to get a positive result or a win of some note against one of them sides. If he can, then you can start seeing something changing. And I do agree with Jeff. I think I was more shocked than anything. Like, as I said earlier, I said it on E20. I thought like we've been Space Jam, like where all the players had just got their powers back and they knew exactly what they were doing. Do you know what I mean? Like,
So-
but then I'm not being funny. Running around a lot that does show a lot, if that makes sense. If your running stats are right up there, and I watched Ipswich against Manchester United at the weekend, and that's a team that runs. Ipswich run and run and run, and that's why I do believe Ipswich will stay up. And I think if West Ham can get the running stats right at the right time and not overdo it, like not overrun and run when it's pointless, like running into positions where you're running around like headless chickens, but you're running in sort of in moments where it's going to benefit you, then
Yeah,
it's going to help us at the end of the day.
of course it is. I think because the problem with all of us is we want to see, whoever manager's in charge basically get this team by the scruff of the neck and make them play.
Yeah,
And he's now got the hardest battle. This one result is now elevated everyone's hopes. And if he's still down here, I think that's probably the other thing that he's also worrying about as well. Then it don't put him in a good position. And as much as he can't be stupid, mate, can he? He must know that the social media is telling they've got the 2 games to go and he's out. This performance now is his pivotal point to either make or break him. And if you don't get that part right, then he's not going to be here for long. But if he can get it right, as you just said there, it's keeping it consistent now from now onwards and that. And I think he's got a lot of people that he's got to convince that, I'm here for the long, for the 2 years, I can do this job, and I will get this team back to the way it should be playing.
Yeah.
But that's going to be that's the hardest hurdle he's got to achieve first of all. Well, as you mentioned earlier, mate, one game don't make a season.
Yeah, and I think when you do look at that one game, even though Newcastle are a good side, they are a good side. You got to look at this and say, right, you got to see what the next 4 games bring, or 3 games at least. Yeah, Arsenal, Leicester, Wolves, and if West Ham can say pick up 7 points out of the next 3, that's 2 wins and a draw in there, or 6 points minimum. Yeah, I would be happy. I'll be happy with that. I can accept losing to Arsenal because Arsenal are a good side. I don't want to lose to Arsenal, but I can accept it if we give it a go.
Yeah.
But as I said earlier, there's ways of losing, and I think this season when we've lost heavy.
The manner of defeats has been unacceptable. It's not losing the games; it's the way we've lost the games.
Yeah, great statement, Jeff. Great statement.
I would say the only game really Villa at the start of the season wasn't really enamoring, but.
No.
It could have been. It could have been, especially in that first half. But
could have been, but it could have been 2-2, but for Souček in the last minute, right? So ifs and buts, right?
Yeah, but the other ones have been hammerings. Do you know what I mean? And not just hammerings, but we haven't done nothing in them games. Nothing. No. Just turned up.
We had a second half against City that was, we were pretty happy with early doors in the season, but we lost the game 3-1. We beat Palace 2-0 when we could have probably been 2-0 down in the first half, got in at 0-0, and then deservedly won the game in the second half. Fulham we got away with 1. Yeah, Brentford probably deserved a point. And then we definitely did deserve the win against Man United. Everton was abysmal. And then we get a performance like that last night. And it's no wonder we're all bewildered where it come from. I mean, Damien says here, he loves the fact that 15 players were involved in an away win, 3 internationals to come back, good for morale and good competition for places. And that's true. We've got to carry on in that vein, but it's absolutely right. We've got Kudus and Alvarez missing, full crew if he ever appears to come back. And Ian says, for me, the result, of course, and also those running stats are promising. The first real signs of any improvement. Let's hope Loppy can turn it around from this point. And that's it. It really is the first signs of any real improvement. Anything that you could look to and go, oh, yeah, I see what he's trying to do. But instead of just knocking it along the back and then hoofing it up because we ran out of ideas, we actually tried to manoeuvre some openings through the midfield. We still played it long, right? We picked our moments, and there's nothing wrong with that because that's why Ipswich, Southampton, and the like get themselves in trouble because they refuse to go. Oh, do you know what? Now's the time. I'll try that diagonal. Or it's time to just clear my lines. They just try to constantly play. Well, we played, and we put the ball at risk sometimes at the back there last night. But it was, pretty controlled, and equally at times we just cleared our lines.
Yeah, we mixed it up, Jeff. That was
good decision
that was different. We mixed it up, our style of play, and it worked. But we can't always consider that's going to happen into the next game. We've got to make sure we were on form, especially as you said, Arsenal are a good side, and our home form needs to improve. And against a team like them, if we're not switched on, we know certain players for Arsenal. Think about when it comes to corners. Who are the danger men when it comes to corners for Arsenal? And it's definitely Gabriel. He's always in there, and if we don't do a number on him, he's going to put one against us.
Thanks, Colin.
Hopefully, we're at the same point. Oh, cheers, Colin. As long as I think the only problem, just kind of changing the subject on that, is us as a fan base. We don't get too excited by this game.
Yeah.
And then we set our standards too high. And the moment it all goes Pete Tong, we're then switching back and having a moment on the team.
I think the next two games, he's got two big decisions, like I said earlier. And I think that's where you either win the fan base or you don't, to a point. And Alvarez is one. Now, maybe you can look at that and go, you know what, that midfield deserves to start. But you've got to look at this and go, right, are you trying to contain Arsenal? Are you trying to beat Arsenal? Or are you trying to sort of don't lose against Arsenal to a point? Do you know what I'm saying? And I think the Kudus one's a big...
Sorry, James.
I think the Kudus one's massive on the Tuesday night. Like, what do you do with Mo? Do you start him against Leicester? Because that's like the game that we need to win. Or do you leave him on the bench and bring him on for 20 minutes? Like, and if he does start, who do you drop? Because I think Crescencio Somerville deserves to be where he is at the minute. It's a big decision.
Yeah, he has got a big decision for sure. Would you leave Kudus out?
I think it's such a tricky one, mate, because we all know how good Mo is. Yeah. And
he's going to be chomping at the bit, right?
And that's the thing. He's going to be really determined to play. He's probably going to be like one of our fittest players because he hasn't played for so long. Yeah. So it's such a tricky one. Now, this is where Lopetegui will lose me. If you take Crescencio Somerville out and put Mo on the left, that's the one where I will look at it and think, what are you trying to do there? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Because I think Somerville's a naturally left-sided player. I think he's done
nothing wrong and everything right to try and hold down his place, right?
Yeah, and I look at it and I think with the Leicester game, obviously, if it was me, I'd go with a two-man pivot of just Souček and probably Paqueta or something like that. Yeah, and have Mo as a 10. So you got Somerville, Mo, Bowen, Antonio. That's not a bad front four because, like, you got to look at it. Like, people use this argument all the time about the style of play. Well, there you go. There's four out and out attackers there against Leicester City. This because we should be going there to win the game.
Absolutely.
Against Leicester. Yeah. Yep. And with Arsenal, I look at the Arsenal game as I want us to win, but we've got to respect what they are. Right? You know what I mean? They've finished second on numerous occasions in regards of the Premier League. They're a very good side, even though I don't like them. So yeah, you've got to be honest. Do you know what I mean? So for me, Jeff, on the Mo thing, I honestly don't know, mate. That is a question that will need to be answered big time.
It's a tough decision for him, right?
Yeah, it is.
Off the back of the performance, and it was a team. It's not just we're not just talking about Somerville now or any individual player. As a team, that's a really good team performance.
The players have got to be hyped, Jeff, aren't they? They're going to be hyped on that performance.
Yeah, and anyone who would lose their place off of the back of that, they're not going to be happy, are they? If you're Mo Kudus, right, and you've served your ban, you want back in the sides, you're not going to be happy about being left out. If you're Alvarez, you probably think you should be playing. So it's got a bit of a job to manage the team now, and keep them happy, and get the level of performance that we saw last night as well.
Big decision, mate. And this
decision.
is the thing, Jeff. Yeah, where I think that's another boiling point that's waiting to sort of simmer over in regards to that. Because if you just for argument's sake, he brings Alvarez in and he drops Soler, people are going to say Soler was great against Newcastle. Why are you dropping him? And if we don't get the result against Arsenal, then that's the firepower they've got to go right straight back at the manager, at the head coach again. Listen, at the end of that, I get that. I get that argument, but I think people think, oh, we're just going to keep doing that, and it's just going to keep working all the time. When different clubs that play different ways and they've got different types of class of player. Do you know what I'm saying? So the Alvarez one, yeah. The Mo one, I honestly don't know what he's going to do on that one. I really don't.
No,
I don't think you should drop Somerville. That's for sure. Because at the end of the day, big up Michael. He's his last couple of games and that he's been immense. I mean, look at him yesterday. He was frightening with his pace. I agree with you in the fact of that free. You know, the attacking free. I think that is where we could cause some damage against Arsenal.
Yeah.
Who you drop out of that lot? I mean, not being funny. I mean, the solid comment. I mean, it's a valid thing, but we know full well that's just one game. Previous there,
11.
Yeah. So when you look at something like that, you could obviously take him out of the equation and put Kudus in that area.
Yep.
But will he have the balls for that? But as you said, it's not an easy one. Alvarez, we've had that argument about, between Souček and Alvarez, we can tie their shoelaces together and put them in one kit, fair enough. Then we've answered the question.
I think the thing is,
Souček is more defensive. I think if you look at it for the aerial ability, Souček beats Alvarez hands down.
Yeah.
And not being funny, when it comes to Arsenal's corners, that's where we need him in that respects.
Yeah. But it's like that's the Alvarez side of it. Now tell me about Mo.
Yeah, I mean the Mo one. I mean, like I said,
if you swap Kudus for Soler,
yeah.
I mean, they're very different. He's not going to. I don't think he links up with Paqueta the same way Soler does.
He doesn't. But if
I
you
think he wants to turn and carry the ball. And
what was the game we dropped? So when we dropped Paqueta into the number 10, when we dropped him back, what was the game? What was that game?
Everton. That was Everton.
So when you look at that, Paqueta looked more effective. That's the way of doing it.
I think
4-3-3.
Yeah, I think the midfield really, even though Soler had a good game, should be Souček, Alvarez, Paqueta. That's what I think the three should be. And I think Alvarez sits there as the sort of DM. So it's like a 4-1-4-1 really formation. I think Michael said it in the chat earlier on. Yeah. And that's what I think it should be. Yeah. Alvarez can slot back into centre half when needed, when we're sort of defending like a back five. Or
very happy.
You go around that way. The Mo one, Leicester away, is the one where I'm looking at. I'm looking at and I'm thinking to myself, what are you going to do here, Lopetegui? Because this is a big decision. Because just for argument's sake, he doesn't put Mo in, and we don't get the right result. People will turn around and say, "Why are you not playing Mo Kudus?" Like he's damned if he do, he's damned if he do, he's damned if he don't. And he really in a situation where,
he is.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like if someone has a great game on Saturday, should he be dropped for the Tuesday night game? I don't think he should be. But you get what I'm saying? But if this is where Lopetegui does lose me to a point, is if you take Somerville out and you put Mo in, and you put Mo on the left-hand side where he's not naturally good on that side, then you're asking for criticism, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, you are, because you're going to get criticised for putting Mo there, and you're going to get criticised for taking Somerville out of the team. So it's like you can't. It's lose-lose that situation for him.
Yeah. completely agree, mate.
But on the other hand, it's also food for thought because it gives us an opportunity that we've not really had for a while, really. Because normally it's a case of you look at the bench, it's like, okay, that's what I've got. I've got to stick with what I've got out field. Now it's a case of, well, if I drop him in there, does that work if I put this player in because he's just as good at doing this, and the other, and vice versa? So it could be a healthy thing as well.
I think it helps. Obviously, having because then you've got someone like a Mo to come off the bench, or you've got someone who to come off the bench, right? So I'll get it from that aspect, but I do think like the tactics that he's trying to do with Mo on the left is a problem to a point.
That means it doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
That
and obviously,
doesn't make sense.
Where yous are not on next week, it's going to be interesting to see what you think on the Leicester game, because the Leicester game for me, we still have to win it. Like you have to go there and win that game. So if you go to Newcastle and win, right, you've got to go to Leicester and win. Really, I'm being honest.
Yeah.
You know the problem there, though, don't you? At the moment they're rudderless.
Yeah.
It's who they bring in. The new manager effect.
Yeah.
That's the thing we've got to be careful about.
Yeah, I know. Always against us, isn't it?
It's like it's written in the stars, James. You know what I mean? It's one of those.
You know full well when we get to Southampton on Boxing Day, they've got their manager in charge and all. I
would say that because the worst case scenario, and that you can just imagine it now. Boxing Day, and here's their new manager coming out now. Welcome, David Moyes.
Moyes, yeah, 100%. Like, I don't know.
Is it going to be Moyes? I don't know who they're going to get. I thought they'd have appointed someone by now.
Thanks, Topher. I mean, Howard's just kind of saying there, Moyes will be at Leicester, but of course, there's also talks of possibly tapping up Van Nistelrooy.
Yeah,
I think Van Nistelrooy for himself, that's a risk. Like, because Leicester haven't got a good side for him to work with, if that makes sense. I think if you look at this from a David Moyes aspect, I think David Moyes could get a tune out a few of them players and basically keep them in the league. If Leicester finish 17th this year, they've had a good season. Yeah, and that's what their aim is. And
yeah,
I think if you're Leicester's owners, you can't be looking good. It's not about looking good; it's about staying in the league. Now, who keeps you in the league? Van Nistelrooy or Moyes? Now, for me, I think Moyes knows the league. Yeah, it's not because of what he's done at West Ham, but I think if you want someone to keep you in the league, it's David Moyes, isn't it? Really? I don't see a Potter going there. I don't see all these names that I'm hearing. I just don't see it because I don't think they can afford to take the risk on a side that could potentially go down.
Yeah,
it ruined their career. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true. Interesting game going on at the City ground at the moment. Feyenoord's just pulled it back again, and it's now 3-2 to City at the moment.
All right. Interesting.
Classic.
I'm going to have to try and wrap this up, guys, because I've got to phone the missus back. She's away at the moment.
I thought I've heard that phone go a couple of times.
Yeah. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me, and thank everyone in the chat for joining us as well. No show next week because of the Leicester game, but we'll be back the week after. Any final thoughts before we go from you guys? Do you want to give any predictions for the Arsenal game?
Just a good performance, and we'll see what happens really. But if you wanted to give a prediction, I am going to say West Ham draw this game. I think West Ham might. I think everyone will be up for it in the crowd. I think they know that the result last night might springboard them into action. Arsenal are playing tonight. I know they're having a game tonight against Sporting, but it gives us from last night's game, it gives us a confidence booster, and that's what we need. I think we draw. I think Leicester game. I am going to say we'll beat Leicester and all. I think we go to Leicester and win. Yeah. So I'd say a draw on Saturday, win on Tuesday night for me.
What do you think, Tony?
I think the tide's turned a little bit now for us. We've got to keep the momentum going. Take what we did from yesterday. The Arsenal game, we know it's going to be a tough game, but I agree with James. I think a draw seems more reasonable than anything else.
Yeah.
And I think it will surprise Arsenal. and that's what we want. We do want to see that in certain respects. Leicester won. It's a no-brainer. It's got to be a win, regardless of performance. We've got to win that, and they make the week even better, really. So let's hope for that.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of with you, so I'm going to sit on the fence as well. I really hope we get. I really hope we get a performance much like that we got last night. If we turn out like that, it could be quite an exciting game. It might be a Desmond or something like that, and I'd take that in a heartbeat. But do you know what? I'll echo what you said earlier, James. I can even take a loss against Arsenal. It's not the losing that hurts me so much as the way you lose. And if we go out and have a go at them, put in a really good performance, lose by the odd goal, I'll still be encouraged. I'll be disappointed at losing, but I'll be encouraged. Leicester, off the back of last night and that performance, then you've got to be looking to go to Leicester and win.
Definitely.
And on that note, I am going to have to call it a night. I'll just say thanks to everyone in the chat for joining us, and thanks again to you guys once again. And we'll see you all in a couple of weeks. Till then,
take care, everyone.
Take care.